morning, Internet. Oh, I kept that on 0 for a little bit too long. But, trying to get in the swing of everything. Today is August 1st, a new month. All kind of good vibes on a new start of the month. Of course, it's my least favorite month because it's so hot. Good morning, George. George is joining us in the room along with Shane, who I'm going to entertain as he works out 3 days a week. I'll entertain you 3 days a week. I can't do nothing about Tuesdays and Thursdays. Hey, my brother's here. Yes, I'm using the Ryan Little. Hopefully I added his links down below. I should have. But anyway, all right. We got to get going because we got lots of stuff to cover today. I had other stuff to cover, and then all of a sudden more and more things were happening. And now I've got even more to cover. Wow, I'm high up in this shot today for some reason. Let me see if I can fix that really quick. Do I have any chance of actually fixing this easily? Video capture device, unlock it, click. Oh, look at me go. Yeah, baby, on the fly. All right, so what do we have first to talk about today? A new animated series coming from Star Wars called Resistance. Now, this was announced a long time ago, but we're starting to finally get us a little bit of information about it. It's going to be out this fall. It's going to be on Disney XD. It's brought to us by the same people that brought us Rebels, Dave Filoni, and he is quoted as saying, "The idea for Star Wars Resistance came out of my interest in World War II aircraft and fighter pilots." So that's kind of cool. I enjoy that time period. Glad you're high. Oh, ha ha ha. No, boo. Anyway, yeah, so it is set after the novel Bloodline. The novel Bloodline centered on Princess Leia's character, General Organa's character, and how she dug out and found that the First Order was becoming a thing, a bad thing, something to fight. But it was set between Bloodline when the Resistance was formed. She essentially formed the Resistance, and The Force Awakens. So in that meaty area there where no one knows exactly what's been happening, or anywhere between the Return of the Jedi and The Force Awakens, there's a lot of question marks in. It's going to follow our main character, Kazuda Kaz Xiono, and there's no talk if he's a human or if he's going to be an alien of some type, at least nothing that I saw. So I'm hoping maybe he's going to be some kind of alien. They slipped that underneath the radar, because we've had enough with the human heroes. And well, it's going to be all new characters except for at least two actors that we know of and characters we know. Oscar Isaac is voicing Poe Dameron, and Gwendolyn Christie is voicing Captain Phasma. Now, this is great because Oscar Isaac is a very entertaining dude. Hopefully he'll be just as entertaining with just his voice, because I think he's a good actor. Like, I loved his scenes with him and Finn in Force Awakens. And Captain Phasma can really use some rounding out, because they've barely used her at all. So hopefully they do a little bit more with that. And they also released a brief synopsis of the series, at least the first episode, I should say. There's a quote. Resistance fighter Poe Dameron tasks young pilot Kaz Xiono with spying on the First Order. At the time, little was known about the secretive organization and its strength. In order to fulfill his mission, Kaz travels to the space station Colossus, which is being used by many ships as a port to refuel and do repairs. However, there are also dangerous races taking place there. After Kaz bragged about his piloting skills at his arrival there, he is soon drawn into one of these races. Let's see. So, I don't really know why the pilots have to be the spies. Don't they have real spies? Like, so no one from like Cassian's brood is still around? Because Cassian was pretty awesome in Rogue One. Maybe that, all right, maybe this happened like right after the formation and they haven't sucked out enough of the spies yet. So maybe that's it. My personal view, I enjoy the sounds of that story there, but I don't know if I'm too much of a fan of that there animation style. And some stuff came out from Comic-Con, like that right there. It's not the greatest. Like Rebels was a really good show and I enjoyed that, but I wasn't too much into the artwork for it. But the story was awesome for Rebels, as far as I'm concerned. Now, I never got into the Clone Wars that much, animated series, but there's tons of people out there that love it and are really passionate about it, and were overjoyed when they heard that it's coming back and that they're going to finish out the run that was announced this past Comic-Con. So we'll see. Oh yeah, but so that animation style there wasn't all that great, but then I see like this one, and that one looks a little bit like rougher and more, a little better to me. So we'll see. I don't know where that image came from. Like, I couldn't find that on an official Star Wars site anywhere, so that might be just someone's fan art that I'm using. Oops, sorry. But anywho, yeah, so Star Wars Resistance coming out this fall. I'm cautiously optimistic. Cautiously optimistic. Nice. All right, so moving on to our next story, but this one comes with a bit of a ramp up. So part of this show stems from the fact that I curate the internet for my wife, Christina. She stays at home and works all day, and she doesn't have time to be able to tool around and find fun stuff. So she ends up missing things sometimes. And I didn't like that, because I get more time on the computer because I'm at work. I set my work computer, do something, and I'm like, ooh, let's see what's fun going on the internet. And I find stuff. And every once in a while, I come across a gem of a story, kind of like this one right here. Thieves use baby stroller to steal shark from Texas aquarium. Okay. So how do they really use the baby stroller to steal? Do they club over the head of a security guard and steal a shark and ride him out and like Free Willy style and like jump him over the thing? No, it's just it's a baby shark. They use baby in the thing once. They should have used it in there twice. And they just pick up the shark, roll him in a wet blanket, throw him in the stroller, and wheel him out. So, and there's a card in the up there. If you click, that'll show you the video of it, but it's not really that great video. It's just people leaning over into one of those tanks where you can pet the fish, and they got them like all the small ones for the kids, and just yanked it right out. Yeah, see, George saw this story, and what caught my eye even more is that it's from Cleveland.com. So it's like talking about Texas aquarium, and dudes in Cleveland's covering the story, and I'm like, oh, that's weird. But it got me thinking. This springed on something geeky in my head. I was like, I haven't heard about a Sharknado movie in a little while. Let me go and Google what's going on with that. And lo and behold, wha-bam! The latest Sharknado comes out August 19th. I almost missed it. For those of you not familiar, back in like 2013, I think, a movie came out called Sharknado, which is a tornado that goes over the water and it sucks up some sharks, and then the sharks go flying everywhere and eat everything and everyone. And it's usually joined up with a storm surge, so that's why, like, they don't have just sharks landing in the city and just dying because they can't breathe or anything. Yeah, George mentioned, sorry, going back just a little bit, they did get the shark was okay, so that's why this is a feel-good story. The shark found his way home, and they did catch one of the bad guys, and the other two are about to have troubles. Anyway, back to the important stuff, like Sharknado. And they've been riffing on titles of Star Wars movies, and at least the last one. The last one was like called the Sharknado the Fourth. May the Fourth be with you, I think, was a riff on the fourth one. And the fifth one, I don't know, I can't remember. I was shocked that there were 6 of them. I just couldn't believe it. But this one looks like this one's titled The Last Sharknado. It's about time, and it looks like they're going to include a time vortex of some kind. I'm all about that. Oh boy, am I all about time travel with Sharknadoes. And so here's our hero Ian Ziering with, you know, great taglines. He came, he sawed, he conquered. Because if you don't know, if you're confronted with a Sharknado, the best weapon you can have is a chainsaw. And so much so you can ask his ex-wife, because in one of the movies, here she's pictured with two hands, but in, like, I think the third movie, she got one of her hands bit off. So in the fourth movie, she got an upgrade where she got the old Ash from Evil Dead hand with the chainsaw attached to it. So chainsaws are a big thing. You know, you don't want missiles or lasers or something like that. You want to wait for the shark to get close enough to you so you can get jacked up with it. So I'm prepping the show last night, and oddly enough, my wife was back here with me doing a little bit of work, and I was talking to her about this, and she said, "Oh, I saw a preview for some movie coming out soon, something called The Meg or something." And here is the artwork for The Meg. I love it because it's showing like it's taking the riff off of Jaws. See, it's like Jaws. You got the swimmer there and the shark coming to get it, but then you got that big giant thing. And when I realized that the movie's called The Meg because it's really a megalodon and not just a big shark, I was enthused. And there's also a card attached to this, and as soon as this is done, please click on the card, go watch that trailer, because that trailer is awesome. It's got Jason Statham and big effing sharks. And I shouldn't need to say more than that, but it's good. So this has been your Shark Roundup for the episode. I didn't know why we have that, but we do. Oh, I gotta check my notes, make sure I didn't miss anything. Oh, there was virtually no notes for that story because I knew I can riff on Sharknado with the best of them. So jumping to our last topic, I am a giant B-movies fan. Fan of B movies, and to me, B movies aren't necessarily just bad movies, because B movie used to mean budget movie. That was what the B stood for. But nowadays we got so much good stuff with the Sci-Fi Channel. God, Sci-Fi Channel, and just there's so many different outlets now. But there are some scientists that obviously have never watched a B movie in their life. Because we get headlines like this: worms frozen for 40,000 years were just brought back to life. These things were frozen in permafrost during the Pleistocene era, 40,000 years ago. And scientists have just thought them out. Now, granted, they are that tiny. They're not quite microscopic, but they're small, and they're just roundworms right now. But see, 40,000 years ago, we don't know. Maybe there was something in the atmosphere that kept them from growing giant and big. And I can't believe that these guys are doing that. They haven't seen a B movie, because that's how you get things like the monster that challenged the world. Big giant worm thing crawling up from the depths to terrify and torture. I don't know how a worm knows how to torture, but that's scary too. And then you get the classic 80s movies, Tremors. Yeah, that's a giant worm. Now they'll come and get you and everything. And there was even this great one, Mongolian death worm. Do you want a Mongolian death worm? Because thawing out 40,000-year-old worms is how you get a Mongolian death worm. All right, people. God, I just don't understand why scientists can be so smart. They can cure diseases, and they don't know that you shouldn't be doing that kind of stuff. Anyway, well, that is our show for this Wednesday. Join me tonight for tech talk related things on Simply Your Device Live. I go on that with my brother at about 8:30. I believe we're sticking with that 8:30 start time. Right back here on the YouTubes. You can search out his channel. It's called Simply Your Device. I should have put a card up there for his channel. I'll do that for the replay, people. But that's all I've got for today. And thank you, and have a good one, and good morning, Internet.